Hello YouTube, my name is Nero and today is Wednesday, therefore it's time for this week's episode of Dear Nero, which of course is the weekly series here on my channel where you guys send me in fan mail and or fan questions, and I do my best to go ahead and answer it. So for the gameplay this week, because you guys sent in a ridiculous amount of questions, like, I have 3 pages in a Microsoft Word document right now just full of questions, just ready to go for this week. So what we got this week is a demolition match on the map Rust. Now we're playing Team Tactical, me and some of my friends, because Team Tactical is like a safe haven you can go to in Modern Warfare 2 where people don't typically grenade launcher you to death. And it's demolition. If you guys have ever played demolition before, one of the ways you can play it is if you're way better than the enemy team and you know it, you can make the game last really, really long. Like on offense, you like lose on purpose, and on defense, of course, you win, but you drag it out really far by letting them plant the bomb, and then you go play overtime and let the time limit go down until you eventually just beat them in overtime. And that's one of the things we used to do in demolition a lot, and that's what we do in this particular video. And after that, I asked on last week's Dear Nero if you guys like to see maybe some Borderlands 2 gameplay. Yeah, I didn't get a ton of responses, but there are definitely some people that were like, yeah, why not some Borderlands 2? And I went and recorded some Borderlands 2 this morning, and we're going to have that transition after this gameplay. But this gameplay is really, really long, so hopefully you guys enjoy the both of them. Let's open up this document here. First question, he's going to write, Dear Nero, what do you miss most from your childhood? Michael from California. So, Michael, I would say the thing I miss most about my childhood is the world was giant and full of wonder when I was a kid, and I just didn't know much. Like, the innocence of youth, I would say, is the best thing about childhood, because you really don't know. You know, everything is a lot more interesting, it feels like, when you're a child. As you get older, you become smarter and you learn more things, and, you know, you just don't have that same wondrous feel about the world that you may have had when you were a kid. I think that was the thing I missed most about being a child. Because, some of the other ones, maybe like no responsibilities. You know, the only stress that I ever had when I was a kid was, you know, what level are my Pokemon on my Game Boy Color, you know, or how am I doing on my SmackDown franchise or something like that on the PlayStation 2. Like, there's really no responsibilities, and of course I'm older and I don't have the same kind of responsibilities that other people might that are my age, because I'm 22. And other people my age, you know, they may have kids and they have to get to their jobs and whatnot. And I have no kids, and my responsibility is making YouTube videos. But it's a different kind of stress, I would say, being a YouTuber. Because recently my channel has, for whatever reason, started like really start to grow. And every day it feels like I need to make a video that I know is going to be seen by probably 8,000 to 10,000 people minimum. And it's like, okay then. And so that can be kind of stressful. It's a different kind of stress, but I would say that the gig I have is pretty freaking awesome. I get to play video games and talk about them with like-minded people such as you guys. And I like it. I like it a lot. But man, my childhood was really fun. I think childhood is something that all of us kind of look back on fondly. At least most of us. Some people might not. But for me, I love childhood. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, greetings from Connecticut. I just wanted to know that in your history of Call of Duty, what was one of your favorite or most intense matches that you have ever played, and why do you still remember it to this day? What map was it on? What gun did you use? And what game mode was it? Oh, and have a wonderful day, Daryl. So Daryl, it's tricky. I've played a lot of Call of Duty. I've mentioned this like many times in Dear Nero, but I think I've got, you know, well over 30-something days in COD 4 and 30-something in World at War and 40-something in Modern Warfare 2 and 30-something in Black Ops, and I think I've got like 10 or so in Modern Warfare 3, and I played a lot of Call of Duty, and to narrow it down to one match is tricky, but I think the one that immediately comes to mind, usually when something immediately comes to your mind, is probably the right answer, is the 200-0 domination match we got on Black Ops. Now, at the time, I'm fairly positive it was like the world's first 200-0 domination match. There was no other ones I could find on YouTube at the time. And basically, a 200-0 domination is a shutout domination match. You know, your team beats the other team 200 points to 0. And I did it with my friend Tryhard and my friend Eagle. It was just us. We weren't even rocking a full party. It was us 3 and 3 random teammates versus 6 other people on the other team. It was on firing range, and I was using the AK-47. But you know, quickly we realized that they didn't cap their back flag, so we jump on it. We're like, let's try and get that shutout domination match. And so Tryhard took the B flag, and Eagle took the A flag, and I took the C flag. and we held on the entirety of the match. And it came like really close, like towards the end. Like towards the end, I think Eagle died off of A, and then Triard went over and tried to stop him, but he ended up dying too. And I just so happened to have a napalm strike in my back pocket, so I call out the napalm and I lay it down like on the A flag, and it takes the enemy team off the A flag like seconds before the game ended, and we won the match 200-0. And that was pretty memorable, and it was pretty fun. And when you go for 200-0, every waking second in that match is intense, because if you screw up once and the enemy team gets a flag, it's like, oh, wherever that goes. And you know, that 200-0 is something that cannot really happen too often in Domination. Hell, it can't even happen on certain maps. So, like, you have to have like Firing Range was a good example of a map that a 200-0 could happen on, because if you're really good with your frag grenade, you can try and nade them off the A flag to start. But if they're using Flak Jacket, that won't work. So it's really tricky to get a 200-0 domination match. And we got it with only me and 2 teammates. So I thought it was pretty awesome. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, based upon the results of the perfect Call of Duty game, you expressed that there would be some things that you would have put in over other things. Now I realize that trying to tell us everything would be an entire video in and of itself. So if you could change one thing from each category, what would the changes be? Galen from New York. So Galen, I don't have like all the results like memorized like top of my head. I'd have to open it up and look at it. But some of the things I would change about the perfect Call of Duty, and like I said at the end of that video, it's like, man, there's no such thing as a perfect Call of Duty because each person has a different definition of perfect. I'm sitting here slurring my words. For me, I would love to see more Call of Duty 4 and World of War stuff in there. Now, nothing against Ghost, but I would take out most of the Ghost maps from the top 20 maps and I'd replace them with World of War and COD 4 maps. Because Ghost is so new that you really don't know how those Call of Duty Ghost maps are going to withstand the test of time. For me, Call of Duty 4 and World of War maps are some of the best in the business, and they've definitely withstood the test of time because COD 4 came out in 2007 and World of War came out in 2008. So for me, like those maps should definitely make it over any Call of Duty Ghost stuff. In terms of rifles, I'm not sure which rifle. I'd probably replace a rifle and get an M16 in there. I'd probably replace a submachine gun and get the Thompson in there. In terms of light machine guns, I was surprised. Well, I wasn't really surprised because no one really voted COD 4 and World of War stuff. But I would have loved to see like the MG42, old Hitler's Buzzsaw in the light machine guns. Maybe the Browning from World of War. That was great. And sniper rifles, I would have liked Mosin Nagant in there. Definitely, that's my favorite sniper rifle. What else is there? Shotguns? The shotguns are fantastic. I love the shotguns. If I were to change anything, it'd probably be the KSG. But if I were to replace the KSG, I don't even know exactly what I would bring in. You know, there's really no other options that I would really want in there. Maybe the AA-12 from Modern Warfare 2, but that would just be spammy and ridiculous. So, I don't know if I would actually want that in there. I liked a lot of the results. It just, I would have liked more Call of Duty 4 and World of War stuff in there. That's all. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, in a recent Dear Nero, you said that Activision should only add and never take anything away from their Call of Duty games. Though no one has ever complained about Demolition. I absolutely love Demolition, and I've never heard you say anything about Demolition being gone. A game mode since Modern Warfare 2 and one of the best taken out of the game. I just want to know your opinion on this. Mario from Columbus. So Mario, it's interesting we're playing some Demolition in this gameplay. So yeah, Call of Duty Ghosts didn't include Demolition. I think the reason for that is Demolition became, just based upon the nature of the game mode, it is a very spawn trap heavy game mode. And, you know, during Modern Warfare 2 and during Black Ops, when they first 2 games that introduced Demolition, you could really spawn trap people to the point where you're shooting them as they spawn. And they tried to fix that in Modern Warfare 3, but it really just broke the game mode when they tried to fix it for me. I mean, you may disagree, it seems like you're a big Demolition fan, but for me, it really ruined the experience in Modern Warfare 3's Demolition, because if you're on the attacking team, and you push too close to the enemy bomb sites, which are of course close to the spawn, then the enemy team starts spawning in your spawn across the map. There's not even a challenge there. You plant the bomb and you win. Vice versa, if you're on defense and you push up too close towards the enemy spawn, they spawn literally on the bomb sites, and they can just sit there and plant it. So it's like there's like a line that you're just like not allowed to cross, and I don't know. It was really bad in Modern Warfare 3 for me. I didn't really like it at all. Did they have it? I think they had it in Black Ops 2. I don't remember ever really playing it in Black Ops 2, to be honest. But I'm fairly positive, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that it was in Black Ops 2. But I didn't play it a lot, so I don't really have an opinion on that. But yeah, I mean, Demolition's a fun game mode. I would have liked to see it in Call of Duty Ghosts. I'd probably play it. I'd definitely give it a try. Demolition plays better or worse on different Call of Duties. And perhaps on Call of Duty Ghosts, it would have been good. Who knows? Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, would you ever consider doing another Road to Round 20 on a Zombies map? I enjoyed that mini-series and would like to see it return. Sincerely, Philip from Tennessee. So Philip is referring to a series I did. It was Road to Round 20 on Nuketown Zombies during Black Ops 2, and I think it took me 5 or 6 tries playing solo to get to round 20. But the reason for that whole series is I was never really a zombies player going into that, and I wasn't very good at it. I wasn't very good at zombies, and it was definitely evident in my videos. But since then, I've gotten a lot better at zombies. And, if a new zombies stuff comes out for the next Treyarch game, which is well over a year away, maybe I do a road around 20 on each map. I don't know. I might do that. It would definitely take way less tries, I'd imagine, because I feel as though I'm a lot better at zombies. Someone that couldn't even, barely scratch it to level 20, around 20 on Nuketown, all of a sudden I'm sitting here, we're getting around 78 on Die Rise playing solo. Like, I don't know, I've just gotten a lot better at zombies. I'm not sure if the series would be as interesting, because it wouldn't be from the perspective of someone that's really bad at zombies, but I think it'd be pretty fun. I think it'd be pretty fun to, do some new zombie stuff. I'm definitely looking forward to the next Treyarch game. I'm definitely looking forward to new zombies. Because I'm never really disappointed by their zombies maps. If I had to pick one that's like the worst, it'd probably be Buried. Like, Buried was really fun the first few tries I had at the map. Then after a while, you realize like the best strategy is like just stand on a rooftop and shoot fish in a barrel. And it's like, too small of a map, too small of a map. So if I had to pick like a worst zombie map, that'd be it. But other than that, I'm really never disappointed by zombies maps. And I cannot wait for the next Treyarch game to come out. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, how often do you get recognized in lobbies? Cal from Ohio. So Cal, not very often. Few and far between. It's starting to increase a little bit, but not very often. Now, I'll say this for you guys. If you ever get into a lobby with like one of your favorite YouTubers, not even me, anybody, any of your favorite YouTubers, the worst thing you can do is try to be annoying to them, right? When it does happen, when I do run into fans in lobbies, a lot of times they'll just follow me around shooting, trying to get my attention. It's like, okay, I recognize you're a fan. That's cool. But please don't you're ruining the game for me right now, and you're ruining for yourself. And since two of us can't really do anything because you're walking around shooting and giving us away and stuff, our teammates are suffering as well. You just play. If I'm in your lobby, or any of your favorite YouTubers are in your lobby, just play with us. Just play. Try your best. Do well. And that's all you really gotta do. Don't be annoying and like try and trap us in corners or shoot at us and stuff, because that's just silly. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, do you ever plan on opening up a clothing store? I would like some Nero gear. Matt from New Jersey. So Matt, I've considered opening like a clothing thing, but I never thought that there would be an actual market for that. I never thought there would be too many people that actually want to buy Nero t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. And even if I did, I don't even know what I would do with them, like in terms of a design, because it's not like I have any catchphrases or have anything fancy like that. It would just say Nero or NerosCinema, and maybe have the N, maybe make it blue. I don't know. So maybe in the future. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I was wondering if you've ever gotten suspended or got into any real bad trouble in school. If so, what was it for, and what punishment did you get? Have a wonderful day, Jamie from Ireland. So Jamie, I was suspended many times during my academic career, going from elementary school to middle school to high school. I think I was suspended. I can't even count the amount of times I was suspended. So the first time I was ever suspended, and this is silly, I think it was in like 3rd grade or so, and I got sent to the principal's office for refusing to sing in music class. And they sent me there, and she's like, you know what, teach you a lesson, we're gonna give you a day's suspension. And my dad took me hunting that day. And then I remember going in the day after my suspension. She's like, so how'd your parents like having to, work around? And the whole idea of it was to like make my parents mad at me, I think, because her idea was when my parents would have to take off work that day, and it would just be a big ordeal, me being suspended for that day. I'm like, nope, my dad took me hunting. Then she responds, yo, so your parents don't seem to care if you act up in school. And I'm like, no, my parents don't care if I sing in music class, and neither should you. And that was the whole thing of it. A lot of times when I got suspended in school, a lot of it was like for like tardies or absences. And a lot of times, especially in high school, they would give us ISS, which is in-school suspension. And I loved ISS. I loved it so much. So what they would do is they put me in this room like off of the office, and there was a computer there. And they're like, okay, do schoolwork. But oftentimes, they would never send down any schoolwork. So I sat there like on the computer, like browsing NFL.com or ClevelandBrowns.com or looking up at the time World at War was out. I can specifically remember sitting there on Wikipedia and just reading up on a lot of different guns in that game. For example, like the Mosin Nagant or the SVT-40 or the Thompson and stuff like that. I would just read the history of the gun and things about that. I got nothing else to do. I got 8 hours to kill today. Let's read about some World War II weapons, or let's see what's going on in the NFL. And that's what I did. Like, I loved ISS. Like, it was not a bad punishment at all. They totally should have not given us computers and made us just sit there and stare at the wall. That would have been awful. But since there's a computer, ISS was awesome. But yeah, I never really got in any bad trouble, per se, in school. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I need your help on deciding if I should buy my own gaming PC or buy a pre-built one. What should I do? Darian from Canada, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So Darian, I would say that if you don't know what you're doing with a PC, buying a pre-built is definitely the way to go. I know nothing. I know nothing about PCs. It's all black magic over there in that big box on the desk over there. It's just black magic to me. It doesn't make any sense, right? So my computer was picked out by Wildcat. I'm like, all right, Wildcat, I got some YouTube money finally. Let's see here. I need a new computer. I need a computer that can render videos faster and I can possibly game on. Because at the time, I could barely run Minecraft on my old computer. And he's like, all right. So he goes up and he finds it at, I think it was on Tiger Direct. And he finds it, and he's like, here, this will do you just fine. Doesn't have a good graphics card, though. I'm like, all right, it's still a better graphics card than what I got. So I buy this. It's like an Intel i7 processor thing. It renders really quick. And then as time goes by, I'm like, all right, well, I want more gaming PC stuff. I need to be better at PC gaming. These graphics, I can't take them. I'm the low FPS rates. And so I'm up at Best Buy, and I find a GTX 660 up there. And I'm like, all right, I hear these are good. So I text Fox out, and I'm like, hey, this is good, right? And he's like, yeah, that'll do just fine. You can run just about any game with that at the time. And I'm like, all right. So I buy that, and I'm home trying to open up my computer. I open it up, and I'm trying to install this 660 into my computer. It was so hard because I don't know what anything does, and it's all confusing. So I'm like sending picture after picture after picture to Fox, and I'm like, where's this go? What's this do? And it's like, we finally got it put together. It's an ordeal if you don't know what you're doing with a PC to put one together yourself. So if you don't know what you're doing, I definitely recommend buying a pre-built one. But from what I hear, it's more cost-effective to build one by yourself if you know what you're doing. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I'm a college student who is working on a degree in psychology, and my final paper for one of my psychology classes is due soon. We had to choose a topic that we thought affected a child's development. I chose to research video games and see if they have any psychological effects on kids. My question to you is, do you think that video games, especially games like Call of Duty, have any effect on a child's development? I myself believe that they do not have any negative effects, but I can't use your response to my paper because the information must come from trusted sources and respected newspapers, magazines, and online journals. But I'm very interested to see your opinion. This does not need to be on Dear Nero, but your response would be awesome. Alex from Massachusetts. So Alex, I don't think games like Call of Duty negatively affect kids. I actually have a video called Do Video Games Make Kids Violent? And in that video, like in short, like in a fast forward, I basically said it's bullshit. Like what the news and what media outlets try and convey games like Call of Duty to be. They claim Call of Duty is a combat simulator and a training program teaching kids to be able to shoot up schools. And I used, the example in that video. I hunt. I've hunted since I was way young. You guys just heard the story about me back in 3rd grade or wherever. My dad took me hunting on the day I was suspended. The gun I use is a 30-30 Winchester lever action rifle. It's a tricky rifle. It's not just point and shoot like every other gun seems to be in video games, right? I use the example, if I were to go over to Ohio and talk to my good buddy Cypher and hand him my gun, I'm like, all right, let's shoot that sumbitch. He wouldn't know what to do. It runs on a hammer. My gun runs on a hammer, and it's lever action. It's a bit different. Like just the idea, like you kind of gotta be taught how to run the safety on that gun. Because there's no just like you click a button and then it's in safety mode. That doesn't work like that. It's a really tricky gun. The idea of the hammer is that when the hammer's up, it's basically in safety mode. When you pull it back, it's ready to shoot. But let's say you pull back the hammer and you don't want to shoot. So you got to squeeze in on the lever, and then you got to put your thumb on top of the hammer, and you got to apply pressure. And then you have to pull the trigger like that and slowly allow the hammer to go back up. It's a tricky gun. You don't learn any of this shit from Call of Duty. It's not... Call of Duty is... It's an arcade game. You just run around and shoot. When I play Call of Duty, I don't even... Maybe I'm just numb to it, but I don't even see Call of Duty as me murdering people. I understand the difference between real and not real, and right and wrong. And the people that do go and cause these massacres in school, like the recent one was down in Pittsburgh, which is 2 hours away from me. The guy went there and stabbed however many kids with a knife and stuff. Those people don't understand right and wrong. Next thing they're going to say, well, what a coincidence that the new Call of Duty game has a maniac kill streak where you can run around with a knife. And this guy just so happens to go knifing people in school. Call of Duty in video games, to me, do not harm a person. Now, of course, if the person's like 3, 4, like real young, I mean, well, of course, actually, my cousin actually has a 3-year-old son, just turned 3. And I think he occasionally watches his dad play Call of Duty. Play Call of Duty Ghosts. He doesn't understand what's happening on the screen. It doesn't, he doesn't understand it. And by the time you're old enough to understand it, you're old enough to have a good sense of right and wrong, in my opinion. So I don't think video games have negative effects on people or children. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I remember in one of your videos you said that you were quite tall. I myself am very short, so I was wondering, well, what's it like up there? Joe from New Zealand. So Joe, you say you're short, I'm tall, and then maybe that's right. I'm 6'3", it's definitely above average. For me, being tall has just always been part of the course for me. I've always been taller than other people. I'll say this though, it feels weird when I do meet somebody that is taller than me. Because I'm so used to being taller than everybody else, that when someone else is taller than me, it really feels weird. It feels out of place. But you being short, you're used to being short. Me being tall, I'm used to being tall, and there's really no differences, really. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what is the best way to get the Skulls camo for the R870? That's the last one I need until I get gold camouflage. From Charlie in Florida. So Charlie, the Skulls camo, if you guys don't remember that from Black Ops 2, it is, I think, 10 Bloodthirsties, which are 5 kill streaks. So the best way to get that with the 870, there's really no tips, man. There's really no tips to, getting a 5 kill streak. The best advice I can give you is to try and use it on smaller maps, like the Studio remake of Firing Range, or Nuketown 2025, or, Raid. You can try it on there. Me personally, I never really had much of an issue going on a 5 kill streak with any gun. I mean, really, I'm working on getting gold camouflage on the TAC-485 pistol, and I think I've already got the Bloodthirsties done. It's a 5 kill streak. It's really not that hard to do. I think one of the things you might be doing, especially since the idea, you're sending me this message, I think you're overthinking it. I think you're way overthinking the idea of getting a 5 kill streak. Like, I think you're tense when you're playing. Like, when you get really close to a chem strike or a Moab or a nuke or whatever, like, you get really tense and you're like, oh my god, please don't let me die, please don't let me die. I feel as though you might be thinking that when you're trying to get your 5 kill streak. Like, you'll get 2 kills in a row, you're like, okay, I need by 3 more, need 3 more. Just don't think about it. It literally just happens, for me anyway. I don't ever try to get the 5 kill streaks, they just kind of show up. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, with the NFL draft coming up in just a few weeks and your favorite team, the Cleveland Browns, picking 4th overall, I think it's obvious that the Browns badly need a quarterback. So my question is, what quarterback or other player, if you believe that they should pick another position, do you think that they should draft? I believe that if Johnny Manziel is available, they should take him because he brings energy, excitement, and is pretty good, and the Browns need energy and excitement. Have an awful season because I'm a Steelers fan, from Zach in North Carolina. So North Carolina, a Steelers fan, it's interesting. You're a Panthers fan, you're really close to them. But then again, I live in Pennsylvania, but I'm a Browns fan who are in Cleveland, Ohio. But, fun fact, the town I live in is exactly, well, not exactly, but it's 2 hours away from Cleveland. It's also 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. So we're kind of like in the middle between them. Who do I think the Browns should draft 4th overall? I definitely want a quarterback. And it's kind of troubling to me because if you follow like the Browns on social media, like Twitter, they really seem to be liking Brian Hoyer. Yeah, they feature him in a lot of pictures, and they feature him in a lot of tweets and posts and stuff, and it's like, it's Brian Hoyer. Come on. Don't. I'm worried they're going to pass up on someone like Teddy Bridgewater, or they're going to pass up on someone like Johnny Manziel, because they have a hunch that they're going to do well with Brian Hoyer, and that would just be awful. But I want them to take Manziel. The quick answer is I want them to take Manziel. I'm a Texas A&M fan, as weird as that is, and it's so weird because you can't be a Texas A&M fan anymore. Like, oh, you only like them because Johnny Football got big, and I'm just like, bitch. I've been a Texas A&M fan since Stephen McGee was their quarterback. Before that, I think it was Reggie McNeil, Jared Johnson, Martellus Bennett, the tight end for the Bears. I was watching Texas A&M games back when he was on their team playing tight end. His brother Michael Bennett's playing defensive end, and Red Bryant's down there in defensive tackle. I've been paying attention to Texas A&M, and I have some Texas A&M T-shirts and stuff in my house. It's weird, like how I became a Texas A&M fan is I was never really like into college sports at all. Then one day the Lone Star Showdown, and it feels weird to say Lone Star instead of Lodestar, but the Lone Star Showdown was on TV, and that is the annual game between Texas University and Texas A&M in football. And they're watching that, and Texas A&M won, and I was like, "That's awesome!" Because so many people are Texas fans. I'm like, "Ah, it's cool, Texas A&M. It's like the underdog. You know, I like them. They're kind of cool. They got cool jerseys." And I started paying attention, and ever since then, kind of been a Texas A&M fan. So I would love for the Browns to take Johnny Manziel. Next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, I know your favorite food is shepherd's pie, but what is your favorite drink?" Sam from England. So Sam, lately it's been water. I only like drink water now. If I were to pick other things, I wouldn't really say I have a favorite. But, Coca-Cola is good. Pepsi's pretty good, not as good as Coke. Gatorade's great. And water are basically all the things I like to drink. Next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, have you ever gotten in any fights?" Ollie or Oli from England. It's O-L-I. I've never seen a name like that before. Have I ever gotten in any fights? I've been in one fight in my life, and I won it. And I guess that's really, that's about the end of it. When you're in high school, there's a lot of opportunities for fights to happen. Like, when you're in high school, a lot of time is people talking about how they're going to fight somebody or you're going to fight somebody, but it rarely ever actually happens. And I did get in one fight, and I won it. I guess it's kind of like a decision-based thing, because the guy just kind of, like, stopped. I didn't knock the guy out or anything, but he just kind of is like, "I'm done." He usually walks away, and he was bruised up in the face pretty bad, so that was the end for him, I guess. But yeah, that's the only fight I've ever been in. It wasn't like a knockout. I didn't get him on the ground or anything like that. It was mostly like a stand-up, like almost like a boxing match. We used to actually box for fun, me and some of my friends. I was bad at it because I'm so skinny and I'm just tall and lanky, but I'm fast. That was like my thing. I was fast, and a lot of my other friends they were like kind of slower. They just hit really hard. And if you guys know anything about that, the guy that hits really hard versus the guy that doesn't really have a whole lot of strength behind him. I lost a lot of boxing matches, but I did win the only fight I've ever been in. So, next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, who do you like better, the old Infinity Ward or the current Treyarch?" Malik from Maryland. So Malik, I would say I like Treyarch better overall. Old Infinity Ward was pretty good. They made COD 4 and Modern Warfare 2. Both pretty good games. But man, Treyarch has been flawless for me. World at War was great. Black Ops is great. Black Ops 2 might be the best Call of Duty ever. It's really good. It really is. I love Treyarch. Treyarch is just great. Next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, I've just recently gone to the shooting range for the first time and wonder what guns have you used at target shooting? I know you've shot a Mosin Nagant, but have you shot anything else?" And this person did not leave his or her name. So, I've never been to a shooting range, never been to a target range or anything like that. All the places that we go shooting are like ranges that we set up in our backyards and stuff. I got one at my dad's house, one at my uncle's house. And the guns I've shot, like I said earlier in the video, I hunt with a 30-30 lever action Winchester. My cousin's got the Mosin Nagant. We used to shoot clay pigeons when I was younger. It's been a long time since I did it, so I can't really tell you what shotgun we were using for that. I'm trying to remember. I think it was a 308. It was another rifle my dad has. I used to shoot a bunch, but yeah, I've shot quite a bit, but not really too much variety in that. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. I'm really thinking about doing this for my channel. Is my cousin's fiance has a lot of guns. A lot of guns. He has a semi-automatic AK-47. He has a Judge, which basically in Call of Duty terms, that is like the Executioner. It's a revolver that shoots shotgun shells, like little miniature shotgun shells. He's got one of those. I'm trying to think of all the other guns. He has a Remington 870. I'm trying to think of all the other stuff he has. I'm definitely looking to shoot some of that this spring and this summer. Next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, in Titanfall, what is your favorite burn card/burn card combination?" Alex from Washington. So Alex, I made a video on it. You can find it on my channel. It is the map hack card, which gives you basically the effects of a Blackbird as long as you're alive for that life. And you use that in conjunction with an Ogre Titan. So what I did is I used that card, I jumped to my Titan, I went on like a 27 kill streak or something ridiculous like that. Because I knew where everyone was at. I basically just stood there and they kept trying to run towards me because I was standing on the B flag, and I just shot down everybody. And it was pretty freaking awesome. Next question, he writes, "Dear Nero, I have a couple of questions for you about Call of Duty. What sensitivity do you use? What layout do you use? Would you like to see the Thompson again? What is your favorite SMG of all time? What were the best stats you've ever had in any Call of Duty game? Keep up the amazing work. Aiden from Australia. So my sensitivity, it's usually between 4 and 5. The layout I use is tactical. While I see a Thompson again, yes. What's my favorite submachine gun of all time? Probably the Thompson. And what are the best stats I've ever had in any Call of Duty? That's kind of tough. In Modern Warfare 3, when I originally hit 10th Prestige, I had just under a 2 KD, just a smidgen below. I think it was a 1.9 something. But my win-loss was above a 17.0. And in Black Ops 2, my KD is like a 2.6, and my win-loss is like a 6 point something or other. You know, think about what, that's what I hate about win-loss ratios, man. I try to keep my win-loss high. I like to win. You know, I try to win, and I don't like to surfing in and out of lobbies, just trying to find newbie players. I play who I find. You know, whoever comes at me, my team, we face them, you know. But people dashboarding out is so obnoxious. You know, you'll start laying the whooping on somebody who's trying to have good stats, and you know, if the game's not going their way, like, oh, I'm just gonna dashboard out, therefore the game doesn't count, and everyone else gets a loss, and then my stats aren't affected at all. I hate that. Like, it's gotten to the point where sometimes, and we just back out. Like, if we join a lobby and we see there's like one person on the enemy team, and that person's got really good stats or something, it's like, well, that person's going to be dashboarded now here. And it's funny, because, like, you see it happen, like, in the game. Like, we'll see somebody with good stats. We're like, all right, I start taking bets of how many minutes this guy will make it before he dashboards out. And then we'll play a little bit, and then inevitably, every time, they dashboard out because they can't maintain their high KD and their high win-loss when they're playing actually good players. And that's obnoxious to me, man. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, is blue your favorite color? I'm asking this because I noticed, and I've never bothered to ask it on Dear Nero before, everything associated with your YouTube channel and Nero's Let's Plays is themed blue. Is it just a random color you chose, or do you have some kind of connection with it? He even wrote how to pronounce his name, Arvinder from New York. I think I pronounced that right, Arvinder. So, NerosCinema, it's changed around a bunch. Way back on the old YouTube layout, my original like background and stuff was like a picture of the woods, and my channel icon was like a wolf. Then once I changed that, it was like black and green was my colors for a while, and then I switched to blue, and I kind of just stayed there. There's something about blue; it's one of my favorite colors. Blue, green, and red. It kind of changes between those. But I like blue. It's kind of like a professional looking color. It's a nice color. It's a color that a lot of people definitely like. And I like it myself, so it's been blue for a long time, and I don't really ever picture changing it. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, what is your favorite pilot weapon in Titanfall? From Austin in California. So Austin, I would say my favorite pilot weapon is the Smart Pistol. Pretty fun to use. Next question, he writes, Dear Nero, I was thinking about purchasing World at War, but I am hesitant because of all the glitches. I would like to know if it's worth it. Thank you for your time. Logan from Illinois. So Logan, from what I can tell, World at War, even the greatest hits, like a brand new World at War game, is $20, $19.99. And I'd say that game is worth $20. The campaign is really good. And the campaign on Veteran, I do not suggest ever playing because it is ridiculously hard. And the multiplayer, man, the multiplayer it's okay. There's not that many hackers left. I mean, you might run into a few, but for the most part, there's really no hackers. The worst downside to the multiplayer now is there's just no one plays it anymore. You know, you have to play Team Deathmatch if you really want to find people. Occasionally, you can find people in the game mode War, and sometimes Search and Destroy, but I'm afraid to go Search and Destroy because that's usually where the hackers go, because they can be like, oh, you have to spectate me cheating. And I love Search in that game, but you really just can't play it. That's why I mainly play it in open lobbies and stuff. But yeah, you can play Team Deathmatch, you can play War, but there's really not a ton of people playing the multiplayer, but you can still play it, you can still get the experience, and for $20, I'd say that'd be worth it. Next and final question he's going to write, Dear Nero, have you ever lost someone very important to you at a young age? If so, how did your global view of the world change? I lost my father at the age of 9, and I'm 14 now, and every morning as I wake up, I feel like accomplishing my dreams. Sammy from Belgium. So Sammy, the closest, well, there's a few. At first, there's one that immediately came to mind, but it turns out there's a few. There was my uncle, who died in 2000, so I would have been 9 or 10. A little bit after that, my uncle died, and my other uncle on my dad's side died. And then a few years later, my grandmother died. And I was like, that seemed like the really big one to me. because, you know, growing up, she was our next door neighbor, and I was always over at her house, and she ended up dying of lung cancer, and it was rough. Like, that really sucked that my grandma died, and she died pretty young, all things considered. I think she was just under 60, and how my world perspective changed. I think the biggest thing that I took from it, and what I take for, like, just from, you know, people dying in general, is that none of us are here forever. You know, we are all going to expire at some point, and I guess life is all about trying to make the most out of your life for as long as you can. Because, you know, my uncle, he died young. Both my uncles, they both died young. One, it was a car accident. The other one had an aneurysm, and they both died. I think they're both in their 30s. My grandma died before she hit 60 because of lung cancer. It's like, it's pretty unexpected what can happen in your life. I think that's something we could all learn from, is that we never know. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. We don't know when we're going to die. We don't know what's going to happen next. So the best thing for you to do is to try and enjoy your life as much as you can while you can. So I guess that's the biggest thing I learned from it. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. If you did, please be sure to leave a rating where you guys feel the video deserves. And I thought this was a good one. This is definitely another longer one. But I definitely enjoy some of these longer ones on occasion. But if you guys like to send in your guys' questions for next week's episode of Dear Nero, all you guys have to do is go to my YouTube channel, go to the About Me section. There's like a little button down there somewhere. And you guys send me a personal message here on YouTube. Make the title of the message Dear Nero. And next Wednesday, I will go through all the questions, copy and paste them all into my little folder here, read them off, answer them, and that's how Dear Nero is done. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please be sure to leave a rating. Hope you guys all have a wonderful day.